welcome to Backstage. This is Mark Davis here with the beautiful, amazing R&B singer, Saliyah Itoka. How you doing, Saliyah?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. So, Saliyah, what's going on with you? I haven't been with you in so long.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. What's been going on with you, sis?
Just staying out the way, being blessed, working.
I see you're working. The laugh relief was amazing, by the way. I just want to tell you, yes, I did call you when I heard it.
Yeah, you did.
I did reach out to you and tell you it was amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So Saliyah, tell me about your journey. Where did your journey start? Who was Saliyah growing up?
I was a quiet kid. My speech was, everyone who knows me knows I have a speech impediment. So I was teased in school. I was really quiet. But I have friends who knew, and they stood up for me in those times. But
Okay.
I was basically a quiet kid. I always kept to myself, kind of sheltered a little bit, but not too much. But I was a quiet kid.
Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Queens,
Queens.
born and raised. My dad is from Liberia, West Africa. My mother's from Trinidad.
Okay.
And yeah, we grew up in Queens. That's where I kind of my music journey, I want to say, kind of started.
Okay.
But
So as a kid, with the speech impediment and just being quiet, how does that get into growing up in school? How does that it's got to be difficult.
I mean, I was teased in school. That's off
Okay,
rip.
bully, teased, the whole nine.
I wouldn't say bullied so much, but I was teased. I had big glasses, big braids. My speech impediment was crazy. Those who grew up with me in school, they will tell you I had big ass braids that they would tease. I had a lot of hair. My mama put in these big ass braids, and I would take them out in school because some girls ain't really have a lot of hair, so we'd have to compare hair, and it was weird. But
Oh my god!
yeah, I laugh about it now, but yeah, some kids, they were nice. They kind of knew. So they didn't really tease me. They kind of looked out for me in a sense, which I was grateful for.
All right.
But that kind of helped me build tough skin, going through school life and just dealing with people and adults, and yeah.
And what about family life? What was that like?
Family life was pretty.
How many brothers and sisters?
Between my mom and my dad, well, when my mom and dad married, I have an older brother and a younger sister.
Okay.
I'm the first daughter for my mother and my dad, but they have other children. So I have one brother on my dad's side, and I have two brothers on my mom's side.
Okay, so you had
kind of a blended
family blend. How'd that work? How was that?
I didn't really. Well, when my dad came to this country, there was a war going on in this country.
Okay.
So his son actually stayed behind, and unfortunately, he passed away in that war.
Okay, sorry
so I never got to meet him. On my mother's side, I vaguely remember the other two, but not so much. I didn't really grow up with them. So it was basically my older brother, Halaji, we're a year and 6 days apart, and my sister Romantu, and I'm 3 years older than her. So It's been just the five of us, the three of us, and my parents. It's always been the five of us.
Oh wow, okay. And so you are the youngest.
I'm a middle child.
Wait, you're the middle child. So there's
technically I'm the middle child between my brother and my sister.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But with the other two,
right?
You can kind of say I'm the young. Yeah, I'm the second youngest.
Yeah. Okay. So that whole family blend, was that most of your younger days in Brooklyn? I mean,
most of my younger days were in Queens. Then I moved up here.
When did you move up here?
I want to say I had to have been maybe 9 or 10, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I still have more attachment to living in Queens and the
is that where your family's at? Your family's actually down there?
Most of my family is from there, but they're all scattered around.
Okay.
But
okay. So growing up, you have both places that you're attached to. How was growing up in the 518? Was that different?
It was a little, different as far as pace. If you're from the city, that it's very fast paced. Everything is boom, boom, boom. Here, it kind of was a little bit slower, but it was quiet, which was fine. Sometimes we need that little bit of quietness, but it was pretty good. I didn't, I didn't really get teased as much as I was down in the city as much, but like my classmates, once they kind of like, we all kind of grew up together from school. We went to the same
Okay.
elementary school, middle school, high school, some college also. So they
Okay.
kind of knew like, oh, if Sally has to talk, or we know to just, let her speak,
Okay.
you know.
So Sally, when did you start getting this bug to become a performer, a singer?
I've always been musically inclined. Since my mother, will God rest her soul, 3 years old, she would say. But I always like, they always would watch like old musicals and like Turner Classic Movies. So when the music would come on or the dancing would come on, I would always sit and watch it with them. So I
Okay.
was a theater kid. I did band. I wanted to be a ballerina when I was like 2. So I taught myself how to do the steps. My parents couldn't afford the classes, so I taught
Right.
myself how to do it. So that was like a dream deferred, still is now as a child. But my dad would always be playing music. He would have that 5 shifting shuffle entertainment things. He would put 5 different CDs in there, and it would play all different type of music, from jazz to opera to hip hop to R&B and theater. So he would have a whole like collection that I would just skim through, and I would just play it
So you as long as you can
as
remember,
long as
you've
I can
had this
remember.
bug.
Oh yeah.
Now, and I don't know if anyone's ever asked you before, but I'm sure people want to know, how does a kid with a speech impediment decide they want to be a singer? I mean, what the hell? How does that happen?
I never really thought about it until people in school were like, "How do you talk and you stutter, but you don't stutter when you sing?" I'm like, I guess I was more comfortable singing as a child
Okay,
than talking.
I got you.
Um, and I didn't have to think too much when I was singing.
Okay,
When with the speech, like, obviously you got to think before you speak.
right.
So with that, if I think about it too much, then I'm overthinking it, so it would come out as me, stuttering. But with the singing, it's just like,
Just done.
just done.
So is it fair to say that you're more comfortable singing?
Yes. I've
Okay,
gotten to the point where if the energy is correct, if I'm talking and if I'm speaking to somebody, I don't really think about my stutter too much.
okay,
And if it come out, it come out.
okay.
I've
Yeah,
gotten to
it
that
is
point where
what
I'm
it
just
is.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
but if
I'm
I
over
like
this
singing,
shit.
I'm like, yeah, let's go in the booth and sing. You
That's
comfortable? Yes.
that's called grown woman shit right
Yes.
there.
That's
So, I don't care how you feel about this. Here it is. I am what I
exactly.
am.
Exactly.
So you get this bug
hmm
and you start singing. Okay, you know that you love to sing. Did you know that you had a beautiful voice?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
As you know, modesty is not her quality.
Nah, I would always just make sure my pitch was right. Like, I think as a kid, because I would watch so many Disney movies, and I would sing every Disney princess role, so I would kind of imitate them. Like, there was certain, and it kind of relates back to the speech too. Like, I would watch a lot of old school movies. So like Julie Andrews was somebody I loved. I still love her to this
Okay,
day. So I would try to emulate her and how she would speak and
sing.
sing.
Yes.
So that was one. Or when I would watch like the King and I or West Side Story or things like that, I would try to emulate how they would speak and sing, and I would try to, oh, okay, if I ever got into this type of music, I can sing that. If I ever wanted to do theater, I know how to project and change my voice up. If I'm ever in a spot where I have to
Okay.
sing jazz or whatever, I know how to sing it in that
Right.
tone.
So as I'm listening to you, you sound like you are a old school soul
Mhm.
of the arts.
Mhm.
The fine arts. I mean, you talk about Julie Andrews, The King and
Mhm.
I. I mean, you're talking about theater.
Mhm.
Wow. So how does it go from the theater and singing and follow along songs and stuff like that to you actually knowing that you want to become a performer?
I always knew I wanted to do something in music. Um, I guess it was when people started asking me, "Yo, when is your mixtape dropping?"
Okay.
Because everyone knew that, like, I would do certain shows where it would involve singing, and then it would be like, "Yo, like, when are you putting out a project?" I'm like, "Oh, it's coming, it's
Okay.
coming." And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should, I write. You don't see there'll be talks about females who will sing but they can't write.
Well, yeah. Well, let's get into that
Okay,
because your writing is beautiful.
thank you.
Uh, when did you start writing your stuff? Were you a poet first?
Yes. So that
Okay.
started when I was in like 6th grade.
Okay.
6th grade, I started writing poetry, and then it just slowly started leading into songs. What I would do is, you know how CDs have like the little pamphlet in the side of it?
Yes.
So what I would do is I would like whatever my favorite song was, I would write out how they wrote it out to
Uh-huh.
see like what were the breaks, like how did they how they wrote it out, and I would speak it like poetry.
Okay.
And that would be like, okay, so that's how they broke it up, or that's how they led this line into that line, or this made sense. I had a thesaurus when I was a
So the
kid.
YouTube school of writing music before YouTube.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Mariah
once you
Carey. I will
discovered.
credit. That was how I started doing that.
Wow.
Mhm.
So self-taught everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful actually, because it's funny because when you see someone that's writing beautiful music, you think that they've been trained to do so, and when you
Mhm.
find they haven't, it's like that old adage, how to black folks will make something out of nothing.
Mhm.
If we don't
That's a
have the
fact.
resources to learn, we're gonna figure it out.
That's a fact.
And you obviously figured that shit out.
Yeah.
So how old were you then when you really started ramping up your writing? When you
I want to say probably like my early 20s.
early 20s?
Early
Okay.
20s, yeah.
Okay. So how did that go from, writing and wanting to get into your first project? I mean, you obviously didn't know, anything about producing music.
Mhm.
How did that come about?
As far as like how I got like to doing it professionally.
Yeah.
Um, Me and your niece, your niece was doing modeling at the time, and she was signed to management company.
Okay.
And modeling came like I kind of wanted to. I always wanted to be a model, but
Well, you had a stint with
music.
modeling.
I've,
We'll talk about
I've
that.
dabbled a little bit. But she was like, if you want to speak to my manager, I can give her your number, and you guys can have a conversation. And we did. We had a conversation, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. This was back, I want to say, in like 2015. And yeah, um, her and her son knew people, and
Okay.
then I kind of started building my rapport with the studio that we were going to, and just really just I had 3 songs. That was the only 3 I had, and and just meeting different people, like, oh, you sing? I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, I don't got nothing out yet, but
But
we could sit down and have a conversation, go through the motions, and
that's
then
called Queen's finessing it.
right, you feel me? So kind of doing that, just kind of just finding my way, not really knowing too many people, and then on top of that, like I'm like, okay, I'm an adult now. I have to speak to people. So like my stutter is I can't let this shit hold me back.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of finding my way and talking to people, and them seeing like my work ethic when it came to recording and being in the studio and writing and just having conversations with people. So that's kind of how it started.
Okay. So you're kind of getting your feet wet in this now, and you drop your first single.
Mhm.
How'd we get there?
um In My Bed was the first song that I dropped that people started paying attention. Um, that song, I started working with this gentleman named William Blanchard, who is phenomenal. Um, and we just started just I don't know what it was. Like he would just send me stuff, and I just started writing, and I'm like, you know what, this sounds like it could be it. Dropped it on Valentine's Day, and it was just like, oh shit! I actually shot the video at my mother's house in my room. It was crazy. But yeah, that was a song that got people like, oh shit,
Okay, maybe something's
all
here.
right, like Sally from school, Sally
Get
with the
ready to pay attention to Sally.
stutter.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was that.
So you springboard from that to an EP release. Well,
Hmm.
actually, you did what, 2 more singles?
No, that was the first single. Then I dropped my EP.
Oh, okay. So then you dropped your EP.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's a big jump. I mean, usually people are like stuttering along in that single phase for a while before
Hmm.
they try to put a project together.
Right.
Um, how'd you put that project together? And how long
Um.
did it take you to put that project together?
Ooh, I think that project took about a year. I want to
Okay.
say. Um. I was in a relationship with somebody, and I based it off like the 7 stages of a relationship.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, it just, there were things that I just couldn't speak aloud to the person or like communicate with people about. And I was like, let me just put it in a song. And that's just how
Okay.
that project came about.
So you spoke about the 7 stages of a relationship.
Mhm.
What the hell are they? I don't know what the hell they are. I've been married for 34 years. I don't know what the 7 stages of a relationship
I
are.
Googled it to see if it was a thing, and some said 15, some said 10, and I'm just like, we're just gonna put 7 songs, and that's gonna be the 7. 7 is the name of the
That was the
project.
magic number, 7.
So I don't even remember, but I know it was like you know, everything is good in the beginning,
Yeah.
y'all feeling each other, whatever. Then it starts to die down, like you start, questions, things that start to pop up, like
Mm-hmm.
you're blinded by shit, so you're just like, wait, like what? Then it's like you start veering off and doing your own thing, and I'm over here like I'm over here like crying and shit, drinking myself to death, like getting high and shit, like trying to cope and shit, and then I think the last song is basically like, yo, fuck you, like you're a bitch. That was
I guess that's the 7th stage.
I know I probably explained 4, but I was like, it led to you're a bitch, like
Fuck it.
that's what this is.
No, so your writing
Mhm.
is very personal to you,
Mhm.
and is that kind of like your way of bearing your soul?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so things that are lingering deep inside of you come out through your music.
It took me a while to get to that point because I'm a Virgo, so I think that kind of like masks, like I try to make things sound sweet, even though it sound crazy, but I try to make it sound sweet. But yeah, that's always been like my outlet to like just let shit out. Like I purge write, so like I'll write whatever, and then I won't look at it for like 2 weeks,
Oh, wow.
and then I'll go back and I read it, and I was like, damn, I was going through some shit. Damn.
Now, do you what is your workflow like? Because listen to your music.
Mhm.
Your sound is so distinct
Mhm.
that I wonder what your workflow is like. Is it a beat and then the song, you write the song, or do you write the song and then find the right beat for it?
It depends.
God, what the hell?
Sometimes it'll be the beat that I listen to and I'll just come up. I'll start mumbling, like I'll find what melody I come up with, and then if words come out, I'll write it down. Sometimes it'll just be me just writing like pieces or something. And then
Okay.
I'll be like, all right, cool. That could be used for something. Or if I already have like a part of a song written, I'll go back and be like, oh, that can go with that, and I'll try to pair it up.
Okay.
So it really depends on like the vibe or the beat or just whatever just I feel like needs to come out. I'll just write it on paper and then I'll go back and I'll add to it.
Okay.
And then yeah.
And before this last project, I noticed you were doing a lot of collabs. You were
Hmm.
working with a lot of people. Was that by design?
Um I don't think it was by design. I think it just happened organically. I started working with Pesci and 80
Yeah, my boys.
and my bros. I love them. And yeah, I think they kind of when I started working with them, I think that's when people started really paying attention to me more.
Yeah, you're in with a network.
Yeah. So when it came down to like the certain features or when it came down to just like the shows they would put together and they would ask me to be a part of it, um, really came from that. And then I started working with Twinkie Hendrix. I worked with
Hmm.
Knuckles Brim. Um, Quaddy Rouse,
Okay,
Zay.
yeah, Zay.
So like just like and I'm picky about my features too. So when you hit me up and I'm just like, you sure you want me? You sure? Are you
well,
for real?
doing a feature though, it's different because um, it's not you.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say it's not you. It is you, but it's not you.
Yeah.
Your EPs have been you, and they sound completely different
Mhm.
than your features. So
Mhm.
that's why it's like, yeah, that's not her, but she killed it.
Yeah.
But that's her.
Mhm.
So is it hard for you to do features?
I wouldn't say it's hard for me to do features. I feel like it has to make sense for me.
Okay.
I think the vibe has to be there. And just like if you fuck with my music and I fuck with yours, like I already know it's gonna be
Right. It's
a
a good
good
match.
a good mix. Or if it's someone who I probably never listened to, but they were like, "Yo, I want to do a song with you." I'm like, I'll go and I listen to it. I'm like, all right, I can kind of vibe with you. I can kind of see where it can come from. But I'm picky with my features because I feel like with every feature, I want to kill you on your own track. Whether I'm on a hook or I'm doing a verse, I want
love
to kill
that.
you on your own track. A little friendly competition there.
Yeah,
But
want to make you go rewrite your shit.
right. But I feel like it has to make sense. It has to mesh. So if the
Okay.
vibe is good, and if I'm giving you jewels to make you better for the next feature, for the next project, then it's a win-win too.
Okay. Now, when all this is going on, you also did a little modeling gig
Hmm.
thing there. On a couple of runways, walked in Fashion Week, correct?
I'll do a Naomi every chance I get.
how, how did that bug come? How did that bug get into you? I mean, a lot of artists
Hmm.
do seem to step over that.
Incorporated.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they. So how did that come about for you?
I've always wanted to model. I mean, I guess every girl who watched America's Next Top Model was like, I want to
Yeah.
be a model. But I always I could remember like my mom used to work at the mall. So me and my sister would go to the mall and just like go to DSW. She'd be looking for shoes. I'm like, I want heels in a size 10. And we would just walk around and I'm like, okay, I could walk in heels. Cool. Um, Also with your niece, she was modeling, and I was like, maybe I could incorporate the modeling with the music. So if I do a shoot or a video shoot and I end up speaking with the people, like, oh, I do music too. I model too, but
I
I also
model too,
do
but I.
do music, and vice versa. If I'm doing a video shoot for somebody and I'm singing with them, and they're like, oh, but I also model too. So
Right.
if you know somebody who needs like merch or whatever, I can model too. Um, and even the same, just her doing Fashion Week, and she brought
Right.
me along. That was my first casting I ever did, so it was an experience in itself because it's very different from the music side. Just
Yes, that's what I was going to get into. It's
yeah.
like that's a lot of people seem to try to, but it's a different animal.
Mhm.
And how do you deal with that? Because those rooms are different. They reject
Mhm.
you in a heartbeat. They don't give
Oh
a shit.
yeah.
It's like you
Oh
walk
yeah.
in, you walk 3 steps, and they're like next.
Mhm.
Like damn.
My first Fashion Week. The first day it was a student designer showcase, and like I was considered plus size. And the one girl, she wanted me to. I was set to walk for her, but none of her shit could fit me. And
Okay.
that was like my first kind of rejection, I would say.
Okay.
But even with going through, working with people and just seeing how, it's not personal.
All right.
It's just, you can't fit the clothes. It's okay. There's gonna be somebody who's gonna see you and they'll be like, "Oh, I want you. What size do you wear? Oh, try this on. You're walking for me. You got shoes? Yeah, you're gonna walk for me." And I've had that happen.
Right.
And but it taught me just to like, it's not personal.
Yeah, it's not personal, but it's still gotta be a gut punch.
Oh yeah.
It's gotta be a gut punch,
Oh yeah.
especially for someone who's a singer, a performer, where it's like, no, you're coming to see me. You're here because you want to see me.
Hmm.
To somebody saying, nope, you can't fit my shit and keep it moving.
Right.
Like, whoa.
And I, I will say I learned how to turn the music hat off and put on the model hat.
Okay.
So I wasn't thinking, oh, it's going to be the same as music. No, this is a totally different. These are people that
Okay.
it's a different type of. I wouldn't say judgment, but it's a different type of. I had to analyze it differently.
Okay. So you actually jumped out of performer, singer, and delved into
Yeah,
just I'm a model here.
yeah,
So the rejection is a part of what I do here.
yeah, and
I
it
said,
was a different type of rejection that I had never experienced. So
yeah, that's different.
I had to learn. So it
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, it's
You
all
know,
right.
I often hear people say that they get into modeling to improve their self esteem. I don't know what the hell you would get into modeling to improve your self esteem for, because that's the most ruthless profession going. I mean, you take 3 steps, they're like next. They don't tell you why. They don't say,
Mhm.
they don't care how you feel.
Mhm.
Next.
Yep.
So I don't know, but that's great that you were able to do that, to turn on different hats, because
Mhm.
that's actually a hard task. I
Mhm.
mean, not a lot of people have that ability to compartmentalize things like that and say, "No, I'm over here. I'm doing this. I'm here. I'm doing this." So
Mhm.
that's a testament to you. Now, was that kind of ingrained in you growing up?
I guess yeah, because like how I grew up is like you can't, if someone rejects you, you kind of gotta suck that up
Yeah,
and
yeah.
keep it
Eat
moving.
it.
Like you can't complain.
Yes.
You complain, like I always had it in my head where it was like if you complain about something, good things don't happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you complain and you got somebody probably has it worse.
Right.
So it was like you can't complain. You gotta just say, okay, take it, not just overthink it, but just kind of give yourself, a day or two.
Right.
Be in that
Give
muck a little bit.
Be in your feelings.
Yeah, be in your feelings about it, and then be like, okay, so what can I do next? Like, how can I better myself for the next time? Where if I'm in the same room with these people again, and they know that they see me a year ago or 2 years ago, it's a different energy now. It's a different animal now.
I'm different.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and I got to think that the teasing that you endured as a kid had to prepare you for that also. It hardened you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that's, a lot of people look back on those times and they say, oh my God, it was so, but it hardens you. It prepares you for life.
The same people who tease me play my music to this day. I see them on my shows. I'm like, oh shit, you used to
tease me, now you're a fan.
Now you a fan. You used to be a hater. You are a confused fan. I will confuse you.
Now, so you did modeling and you still do, sometimes. I mean,
I dabble into it.
If it presents itself.
If it presents itself, yes.
Yes. Do you still have that itch sometimes though? The runway itch?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like every time fashion week season come around, I'm like, it ain't nothing for me to get a comp card put together, an updated comp card and just, go. But I feel like, at the time when I kind of not stepped away, but kind of like backed off from it, I felt like, you know what, maybe my purpose is not this.
Okay.
I know I could walk. I know I take really good pictures, and I know people that were designers or even people who put on shows like, yo, if they ever wanted me, hey, you want to come to this casting, or I want you to walk for me.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I do have the itch. Whenever Fashion Week season come about, I'm like, you know what?
Maybe.
Should I not? But then I'm like, you know what? Like, I could always go back to it.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get the little itch.
I got a little itch, but I'm just like, you know what? Let the girls, the girls who get it, they get it. Let them do that.
So, as I guess when you kind of stepped away from that, you kind of stepped knee deep into your music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I contacted you about this interview and about this whole project we're putting together, I gotta commend you. You were one of the most professional, even though we knew each other, it was still, you were professional in dealing with, unlike, not like a lot of the people I have to deal with. When I asked you for things, you got them to me. You got them to me on time and prompt.
Yeah.
So you're really taking this seriously. And is that was that once you stepped away from modeling and said, this is what I'm gonna do?
It took a while because people started noticing when I would work with certain artists, like, oh, she has material, like she got credentials, like she ain't just someone who just says she want to be a singer and I'm not saying, oh, I want to be a singer and poof, so, and it took me working with certain people, like I have I call him my mentor, Jay DeRider, he's from PA, who heard me off of another artist from out here.
Okay.
Who actually helped me with the last project, who has been helping me, like, oh, like, you need your EPK, I thought when you sign up on ASCAP or BMI, you just need your performance. No, you need your songwriters.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, like, I want to get placements. So it's like, just really saying like, no, this is what you need. So when it's time for magazines to come up or people, they're like, oh, my links are here, so it took me a while because, I thought, oh, I thought I automatically knew everything.
Right.
In a sense.
Now, any artist, if you're listening to this, please listen to what she said. Please listen to what she said, because she just dropped a gem on your ass. When somebody asks you for your EPK, the correct answer isn't what's that? This is your business. You're supposed to know what that is and get them that information because they want it for a reason. They don't want to have to go search and find out everything about it. They don't want to do Google you and find out everything.
It's the same thing with modeling. Like, these models, they don't want every single picture you take on a photo shoot on your IG.
Right.
Save those really good pictures for your portfolio and your comp card. I don't want to see all the pictures from your shoot.
To see all that.
They don't. They already seen that. They want to see how you can. Oh, if I bring you to a label meeting, or if I bring you to a distribution deal, this is my shit.
This is my shit right here. And that was it's so refreshing when you ask an artist for that and they send that to you, especially, one of the things I asked you earlier were, did you have management? And you said, no, you're self-managed. And be self-managed and as professional as you are about this is really refreshing, because I don't get to deal with that often. And I really want to thank you for that, because you made doing this whole project so much easier.
Thank you.
So, outstanding. So your latest release, where'd that inspiration come from?
In my feelings basically just came from just like the people I was dealing with, as far as like, guys that, I would talk to, or just people wanting something from me, but there's no reciprocation. And just, I was going through a lot mentally with my family, and just life was lifing. So life was lifing. It still is, but we here.
Right.
But I think just, I was in my feelings. That's basically what it was. Like,
okay,
this is what it is. And it actually turned, I didn't expect it to be a therapy for me.
Oh, okay.
It ended up becoming a very big piece of therapy for me. I always thought of it as being therapy, just like, I'm writing, I'm getting it out, but actually like sitting with it and like really going on a journey, and like, yo, like you're really talking about shit that I never thought I would talk about.
Wow. So, so when you talk about the therapy of it all, so as you're writing this, as you're putting this project together, there's a healing going on. There's a realization going on that. Wow.
Yeah, it's funny because the skits were like basically like a therapy session. Like, I'm talking to myself.
Okay.
And I didn't acknowledge it as that before. I just thought like, intro, like, like you've been really healing, like you have. And then it's funny because Shakima, she had sent me a video on Snap, and she was crying. I was like, "What you crying for, girl?" She was like, "No, like this is healing." I was like, "Why are you crying? I didn't mean for you to cry." She's like, "No, it's you saying some shit."
So did you realize that your sound touches people like that?
At that point, yeah, because I had never thought about it that way.
Okay.
Until I went back and I was like, let me go back and listen to what are they hearing that I'm not hearing, or what are they hearing that I'm not seeing? And I was like, oh, I was really saying some shit on this.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
I think it was Donny Hathaway wrote "Killing Me Softly," and the lyrics to that song is, strumming my pain with his fingers, playing my life with his words, life with his words.
Yeah.
I mean, that's profound, because as an artist, what you're singing about, someone's going through. What you're feeling, you're not alone. Somebody else is feeling that, and it hits them like a ton of bricks.
And it's funny because someone has said, "Oh, you're writing, you're making music for other people." So when people say that, it kind of makes you think like, I have to write this for somebody, but you're like, that overthinking is gonna kill it.
Yeah, your story tells your story is someone else's story. Your story is almost, it's a replica of someone else's story. And when you sing those words, man, it hits deep. It hits deep. Now, what do you say to your critics who say that your music's over-sexualized? I love that.
I said, you must not really listen to my catalog then.
Well, that's exactly.
You must not have listened to my entire catalog.
You listen to 2 or 3 songs.
You listen to 2 or 3 songs that sound good. That's probably in your bedroom playlist right now. I said, if you get somebody pregnant off of my music, I did my job.
Say no more.
I did my job, but I'm like, no, I got some. I'm like, if you really listen, and like, it's funny. I had when my first project dropped, this one guy, I love him to death, but he tagged me in somebody's post like, yo, I need some music to take a drive down with, and he tagged my project, and he was like, yo, my nigga, she sounds sad as fuck. So I hopped on the post, and I was like, if you really listen from top to bottom, it's actually a really dope project. It's really not sad, but if that's how you want to take it, then that's okay. He ended up following me the next day.
Well, you know what's funny about music is that if you listen to someone's EP or their album,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't listen to it from top to bottom, the way they actually put the project together,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get the full story. It's like reading a book halfway through,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Oh, I'm done. I got the story."
Yep.
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a project for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's put together in a way for a reason.
Yep.
And not to take it there or not to pay attention, like to listen to one song and pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to it and not pay attention to the rest. You could easily get misguided.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like the way you handled that though. It's like, brother, just maybe listen to it again. Yeah,
Yeah.
try it again. Maybe you're missing something.
How about bring up my name in a conversation?
Yes.
Bring up my name in a conversation. They
But
gonna tell you.
but here's the beautiful thing about it is that as an artist, talk bad, talk good, talk whatever you want to talk. Just keep talking about me.
It's PR for me either
It's
way.
PR either way.
Either way.
Right. So either way, it's a win.
Exactly.
Either way, it's a win. So it's like talk bad, talk good, just keep talking. Because if you
Exactly.
ain't talking, that means I ain't relevant.
Exactly.
So that's good. That's good. That's good. But today I had a advance listening to your
Mm-hmm.
newest project coming out, your album coming out. Now this will be your first album.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Tell me about how you get to from EP to
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what, I'm putting together an album.
I feel like, just it's a different space I'm in.
Okay.
It's a different space I'm in, and it's the music from the last EP to just what I've been through and what I've just experienced, and just looking around. Like, I feel like, I mean, EPs give you, it's like a short introduction. I've been introduced already. I've been introduced already.
Yeah,
like,
we
this
know who
is,
you are.
you know who I am. So it's like, this is like, yo, this is a different. My pen is different. Like, the people who I'm working with is different. Like,
It's such a mature sound.
It's yes.
It's such a mature
Yeah,
sound.
and I was just thinking about, like, yo, like, this is like, I'm really talking about things in my own way that I've been through that I probably would have never thought about talking about.
Right.
But here we are.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it. I was like, it's a more mature me.
Absolutely.
It's a more like, the same girls who you listen to, the Coco Jones, the Savannah Christie,
Mm-hmm.
the Queen Naija, the Tink, the Kaylani.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different space. It's a different energy. It's a different world. And I feel like, it's okay to be sad, but we're not going to be stuck in that. We don't want to be sad no more. We want to be happy. We want to dance. We want to, we still going to talk our shit regardless.
Oh yeah, you talking your shit.
I'm talking my shit. And but it's just a different space I'm in. Like, I love the process more than I did before.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, this is definitely. I mean, I love the last one.
Mm-hmm.
This one right here, though. This is something different. This is something different. This is gonna be a hard drop.
I'm excited for people to really hear it.
Now, do you have a time frame for that?
I did, but I feel like if I put a time frame on it, I'm gonna overthink it and I'm gonna rush it, and I don't want to rush it because I feel like this is the one that's gonna.
This is your baby.
Oh shit! Like, wait, what the fuck? Yeah, you want to have a conversation? We can have a conversation about this. Yes.
So, I gotta, I know you've been through some tough times lately. The passing of your mother.
Mm-hmm.
God bless her soul.
Thank you.
How has that affected you in writing and presenting yourself?
Wow. It's funny. I did a songwriters retreat the month before she passed.
Okay.
And I didn't play that song yet, but that song that I wrote, it was the first song I wrote the first day we got there.
Okay.
And that was like, it affected my writing a little bit because, obviously you want to pour out what your emotions are of being sad. Mm-hmm. But I feel like my faith kind of increased in that. God knows God knows the end before the beginning and the beginning before the end.
Yes.
So I feel like it was like, you know what, use this to mourn and move.
Okay.
Don't stay stuck, because if you're stuck, you're not going nowhere. You're still not going to be the same Sally you was.
Right.
you know, before that. So it affected just, you know, writing and just being open and honest.
Okay.
But I feel like, you know, if you stay stuck in that, then somebody's not going to heal from what you're going through.
Oh, beautifully
Somebody's going to
said.
hear something that you wrote that you probably, it wasn't even the intent of it being for somebody. I
Right.
just had to get this out. I wrote this for my mom. I wrote this for the experience I was in, and it's going to hit somebody different.
Now, you spoke about a songwriter's retreat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, excuse me for being ignorant, but what the hell is that?
Shout out to Song City and Ink City, Scott Womer. Um, there's basically like a 3 or 4 day, you know, time frame where y'all just all get together in a nice ass spot. A whole bunch of musicians, a whole bunch of writers from
Wow.
different genres. I was the only R&B singer, and I was surprised I even got chosen. But it was just good, just meeting people from that I never heard of. That you listen to their processes and just how they write, how they come up with stuff. You know, just speaking, just talking.
Okay.
Scott, the one who put it together, he each gave us Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act,
Mm-hmm.
and it broke it down to like a science.
Wow.
And it was crazy because you're just thinking you're just writing a song. You're just writing from your feelings. You're constructing a verse, maybe a B section, a hook, verse
Right.
2, B section, and then a bridge. But it was good to it was in Lake George. It was peaceful.
Wow.
Just really just we all sat together, just talked about different things and who our inspirations were. We all played the songs we wrote, you know.
Wow.
It was just those are the type of things that I was like, you know what? Although I love to sing, I love to write for myself, but I could see myself doing this for other people.
Okay.
The
So is that
day
powerful of experience?
Yeah, it was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to meet other writers and see what their processes are and how they come up with their music. Where do they take it? Whether
Wow.
they, you know, take shrooms to get themselves, you know, in the mood, or whether they, you know, get a little high or whatever.
What do they do to get there?
Well, what do they do to get there? Or even if they don't do anything to help them, that just how do they sit? How do they get themselves mentally prepared for it? So it was a great eye opener for me.
Wow, that sounds like an
Yeah.
amazing time.
was-
Something you definitely do again.
Hell yeah, I would do that again. It was
Wow.
so great.
Now, did you find that improved your writing ability?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's more than just like, I feel like building it may seem easy, but it's not. Like once you start
Okay.
really getting into, it's basically a story you're telling
Right.
in your own
It's
poetic,
yeah.
you know, disguised way. You're trying to figure out how to make this make sense to somebody, and if they don't make sense of it, then there's lines you got to read in between. So I like it. So that's kind of like how I write. I like for you to read between the lines. One way could mean a totally different way, and
Right.
that's up to you. So
Now, there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week.
Mm-hmm.
How are you juggling this with motherhood?
I mean, that's a journey in itself. That's a journey in itself. My little man is, you know, I'm just a passenger at this point. He the driver. I'm the passenger. I'm just like, you know, we got to steer here, right? You know, you do got to listen to me though, right? Okay, we're gonna go here now. But it's helped me find a different level of peace in a way.
Okay.
Knowing that, you know, one day he's been in the studio with me before.
Yeah, your music's gonna live on. He's gonna be
he's gonna be like, yo, my mommy wrote that.
Yeah.
Or
and one day he'll
my
have
mom's
kids.
on stage, like, you know.
Yeah.
So
one day he'll have kids. This was my grandmother.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's giving me a level of just like, you know, like, and he sings too, and it just brings me joy. Like, yo, you sing, like, you know, I'm gonna get you. He might be on the album too. You never know. So
dropping some shit on us here.
But it's a very humbling energy that it gives me. That, yo, like, I'll be sitting down writing and he's over here, you know, doing his thing, playing with his swords, and he's singing, he's dancing. So it's like, it's a good, like, you get to experience that with me, and I get to experience that with you.
That's
then,
beautiful.
Yeah, so it's a very humbling experience.
Wow. So we got an album coming out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking sometime before fall though, right?
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, anyway, It's been wonderful talking to you. I really enjoyed this time with you.
Likewise.
I want to thank you so much for being as professional as you were, because I'm telling you, people take that shit for granted, but
Mhm.
it means a lot
Mhm.
when you don't have to go and do all, work to find out about a person, find out about their work.
Right.
It means an absolute lot. So I want to thank you, and thank you once again for stopping in,
Thank you for having me.
and look forward to dropping our other project.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, sis.
Thank you.